Welcome to my video on finding equation of a straight line. This is a continuation of our linear relations topics and builds very much on our previous ideas. What are those previous ideas? Well, let's go back and do a small recap of what we were doing previously. The important language for this video, however, will be gradient, intercept, coordinate, and passes through. So what was our previous learning? Well, in our last video we talked about the general idea of the line y equals mx plus c. We came up with the idea that every line could be written in that form. So if we had something of the form y equals 3x plus 6, we could see from that that our gradient was 3 because that's fitting in the same place as the m, and we know our intercept is 6. And just to pick up a small, clarification, I kept saying in the last video that the line will start at 6. Maybe now's the time to actually look at that and go, well no, it doesn't actually start at 6. It passes through. It passes through the value of positive 6 in the y-axis. But when we draw these things, sometimes it's easy to actually have that as my start position. So if I was to sketch this, I would now know that it would pass through 6, or I can do a little x at 6, and it has a gradient of 3. And as our gradient is equal to 3, which is the same as rise over run, then we can have rise as 3 and run as 1. So what does that mean? Well, it means for every 3 units we go up, we go 1 unit to the right. And again, we could go up and do a dot and up and do a dot, and then we would join those all together, and lo and behold, we would have our straight line. And if you remember from our last video, if we had something like 3y plus 6x equals 9, well, we have a y term, we have an x term, and we have a constant or a number, which is just a trick to try and say to us, well, let's actually rearrange that into our gradient form, which is this form here where the y is on its own, or the subject of the formula, and that can be done, but again, it's beyond the scope. So we have y equals mx plus c. Previously we were given y equals mx plus c. What happens now? We have to find the equation of the straight line. Well, okay, interesting. So how do we find the equation of our straight line? Well, let's have a nice easy example. In this example, a question which I've sort of pared down quite a lot has basically suggested now that you have been given a value of m is 2 and c is minus 10. It says it wants you to find the equation of the straight line with the gradient 2 and the intercept of minus 10. Well, we know the gradient of a straight line is given by y equals mx plus c, and they've told us that m is 2, so where I see the m, I'm going to substitute it with a 2, and I know c is minus 10, and bearing in mind this whole thing is a relationship between the y value and the x value, we just write those in, and nice and easily, y equals 2x minus 10. Maybe we should talk a bit more about the idea of this relationship. What it says is, to find a y value, all I need to know is an x value. And I know for this particular line, if I take the x value, I multiply it by 2, and take away 10, I get a y value. So let's do an example. So if I know that x is equal to 1, then I can now find my y value by saying that y is equal to 2 multiplied by 1 and then minus 10. So 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, take away 10 gives me 8, or rather negative 8. So I know that with certainty the coordinate value 1, minus 8 will be on that line. I know the value of 1 minus 8 will be on that line. Why? Because I've proven it. Because when x is 1, the formula tells me that y is going to be minus 8. So what about the coordinate position 2, 15? Is that going to be on my line? Well, we can just test it, because what we're saying is if x is 2 and y is 15, then yep, it'll fall on the y line. So I have y equals 2x minus 10, so 2 times x is 2 minus 10, so that gives me 4 minus 10, or negative 6, Well, hold on a moment. When I put 2 into this formula, it's telling me the value of y would be minus 6. So this value here of 2, 15 cannot be on the line, and that's actually an interesting test. This example was pretty trivial, and to be fair, it's unlikely that they're going to give you an example that easy in an exam. So let's ramp up the complexity a bit and do the idea of a question. So you're now told a straight line has a gradient of minus 2, a little bit of a sketch, gradient of minus 2, and passes through the point minus 3, 13. It passes through that point. So how is that going to help us? Well, we know it's a straight line, and all straight lines have to have the equation y equals mx plus c. Now, generally speaking, what we need to do is we need to find the values of m and c and substitute them into this equation. So what have they given me in the question? Well, they've given me the gradient of minus 2. So I now know m is equal to minus 2. There we go. Good, that's that bit done. Hold on, they haven't given me a value of c. In fact, there's nothing in here that suggests the intercept. Nope, because maths is trying to trick you again. Maths, remember, is a big, fat trick. Aha! What they have given me is they've given me a coordinate. And what do I know about any coordinate? Well, a coordinate is actually code for an x and a y value. There is an x value, there is a y value. So they're trying to trick me. So what they've actually given me is they've given me a y value, they've given me an m value, they've given me an x value, which means I can actually work out my c value. How? Just basic algebra. So let's do a little bit of substitution. We know that y is 13, so there's my y. What did we say m was? It was minus 2. The x value is minus 3, and I don't know what the c value is, so I'm just going to do plus c. A little bit of manipulation. Minus 2 times minus 3 is 6, plus c. So hopefully, if we do 13 minus 6, that will give me my value of c, so c should be equal to 7. Hey up! I've now got my value of c equals 7. Can I go into the idea now of doing my equation of a straight line? Yeah, of course. This coordinate was there to help me find the value of c. To have an equation of a straight line, all I need to do is know the value of m and c. So I now have to restate my equation as being y equals m is minus 2, the x stays there, and the c is plus 7. And there we go. That is the answer of my straight line, or that is the equation of my straight line. So maths is trying to trick me. All right, we needed to find the value of c first. How did we find the value of c? They gave me this coordinate position here. Ooh, so what happens if they try and trick us even more? Nah, we won't bother about tricks. We've got it sorted now, you shizzle. Nope, no idea what that means either. Saw it on a YouTube video. Here we go. So find the equation of a straight line which has a y-axis intercept of minus 4 and passes through the point 1, 2. A y-axis intercept. Well, we know what a y-axis intercept is. They're telling me here effectively that c is equal to negative 4. Thanking you. And they've told me once again it passes through the point 1, 2. So I have the point 1, 2. They've given me a point. What is that code for? Once again, it's code for an x and a y value. So I've got my equation of y equals mx plus c. And does that help us? Well, yep, I've got a y value is 2. I don't know my m value. We can see through this now. Whereas last time they didn't give us a c value, this time they didn't give us the m value. Not a problem, we can sort this out. So m, don't know what it is. Let's just leave that as the letter m. What's my x value? My x value is 1, and this time this told me that c is minus 4. Well, let's do a bit of tidying up. We know that then 2 stays as it is. M times 1 is just m, and there's my minus 4. I want the m on its own, so the minus 4 now can move to the other side, and I get 2 plus 4 is equal to m, and so m is equal to 6. Again, that is not the end of the question. We now know that m is 6, and we know that c is minus 4. We have all the information I now need to go and write the equation of my straight line is given by, remember, we've got y equals mx plus c. That's the general format, so y is equal to, I know what m is, 6x, and I know that c is minus 4. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is my answer. See, told you this stuff wasn't complicated, yo shizzle, we are sorted! One more time. Maybe they can ramp up the complexity with one more question. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Find the equation of a straight line which passes through the points 2, 2 and minus 3, 17. Have they given me an M? No. Have they given me a C? No. Oh, okie dokie. Panic. Panic. I don't know an M. I don't know a C. Yes, we do know an M. If you go back to my previous video, remember, you can find the gradient from 2 coordinate points. We've done that before. It's easy. How do you find the gradient? It's rise over run. Or it's the 2 y values taken away divided by the 2 x values taken away. Right, well, there we go. Let's see whether we can get past that trick. So let's write it 2, 2 and minus 3, 17. So I now know that m is equal to, right, well, let's look at our y values. I've got 17 and I've got 2, so I'll do 17 minus 2 divided by, let's now do the same with our x values. I've got minus 3 and 2. Remember, we have to do them in the same order. We did the second coordinate, take away the first coordinate. So I've got minus 3, minus 2. All right, so what does that give me? Well, 17 minus 2 is 15. And minus 3 minus 2 is minus 5. So what is 15 divided by minus 5? It's minus 3. Awesome, I've got my m value now is minus 3. How do I find my c value? Well, they're trying to trick you again, because go back to our previous example. What did they give you? They gave you an m and a coordinate. Well, that's fine. I've now got my m value, and I've in fact got 2 coordinates. Woo, life is fabulous. I am spoiled for choice. Well, let's just use this coordinate here. We go back and we say, well, we know that we've got y equals mx plus c. I've got a y value. I've got my y value. It's 2. I've got an m value. It's minus 3. I'm multiplying that by my x value, which is 2. And I'm doing plus c because I don't know what it is. Well, that's fine. I do 2 is equal to minus 6 plus c, or the minus 6. Now we'll move over to the other side. So I get 2 plus 6 equals c, or c is equal to 8. And yay! I've now got my value of m. I've got my value of c. So that means I can go back to my equation of a straight line, and I know the general formula is y equals mx plus c. So therefore, and we're going to see a lot more of this therefore business, I know that y is equal to m, which is minus 3, times by x plus 8. And there is the equation of my straight line. So now, even giving me 2 coordinates, hey, I have to do a little bit more working out, but it's there to try and trick you. You've always, 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 to do the equation of a straight line, got to come up with m and c. Well, the end of this video for tonight. So have a good evening or good day. Thanks for listening.